Of course, the real heroes of this place are out here. We meet on hallowed ground because they dared to believe and kept the faith. I feel greatly indebted to those who have brought us here. It's the only place to be today physically, and it's the only place henceforth to be in spirit if we want to save this country. The idea of planting those crepe myrtles over there, one for each soul, is inspired. And I hope we'll all come back, bring more with us, and always remember this event. When we can stand in the shade of those crepe myrtles and breathe the fragrance of their blossoms. We're told that the long struggle for freedom is between memory and forgetting. It is absolutely essential that we remember what happened here. Not enough has been said about those who gave their lives. They were religious people. They dared to live their faith. I think of those on the Mayflower and those who died on the Mayflower, nearly a fourth of the number that started out, because they dared to live by their faith. They wanted to be let alone, and they couldn't find a place where they would be let alone without crossing a dangerous sea. One of our great justices, Louis Brandeis, said that the right to be let alone is the most comprehensive of all rights, and the right most cherished by civilized people. Was it too much that they wanted to be let alone? Of all the whys about the government's conduct, the first question is, why were they here in the first place? They had no right, no business here. And all the little whys are subsidiary to that. We have to try to understand what happened. In fact, my sermon today will come from the Gospel according to St. David Koresh. It's the first line of the poem that he completed that was to be the preface for the work underway, that he hoped to be his ultimate expression of his religious faith. It's a line that seems so very apt to this time and place. Search forth for the meaning here. Search forth for the meaning here. There were three general acts of our government that were criminal in their conception and in their execution, and the rest is detail. The ATF, knowing of the presence of little children, of women and men in a church center, planned and partially executed a paramilitary attack. No other explanation of what happened is possible, and we know it. And we watched it. And then we watched the long, lonely days in which our government deliberately inflicted, in violation of all humanitarian law, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, cruel, degrading, and inhuman punishment on all of the occupants of that church, thinking of every way they could to torment them out of their minds and out of their faith. And admitting it in their reports. And there's no need to recount all their cunning or all their violence. And finally, the grand plan, which was simply to destroy the church. Two years ago today, armored vehicles battering at the building for 6 hours, flooding it repeatedly, time and again, with gas. I wonder if there was a storm at sea when the Mayflower crossed. It was nearly as threatening or horrible to its occupants as those hours for the men, women, and children in the church here. And the fire this time took the lives of all those who would not yield their faith. When you think of what they suffered through all the days of torment and the hours of direct assault and violence, and they gave their lives. They gave their lives because they believed. They did have a cause. They were religious people, and they ought to have been let alone. And they had done no wrong, and the government had no right to be here.